We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Roll call. This action is taken by calling each board member's name with the board member answering present. Mr. Murray.
Present.
Ms. Wilson.
Present.
Ms. Higginbotham.
Present.
Mr. Kazook.
Present.
And Ms. Wicker.
Present.
All board members present.
The adoption of the agenda.
If there are no corrections or amendments, I recommend that the agenda be approved as presented. I have no changes or anything to add. Ms. Wicker.
I make a motion we approve the adoption agenda.
I'll second.
Mr. Murray.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham.
Yes.
Mr. Kazook.
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker.
Yes. Public comment. Anyone wish to talk before we start the meeting? Russell County Education Association, RCEA, Certified Employee Recognition. Devin Godby.
That means rise, Ms. Godby.
That means come forward. Come forward.
Sometimes I get to pass this out to people I've taught with. Sometimes it's friends. This time, it's a grateful parent that I get to give this award to. Katie had Miss Devin in Spanish 1 and 2. To this day, she still uses that when a patient comes in that can't speak English. And I will never forget the first time she went to Ecuador and she called me, she said, I can order in Spanish and I can talk to everybody. And I have this woman to thank.
Yeah.
And that was something she learned that is going to stay with her, and it's something that she uses in her vocation. I appreciate that. So Miss Devin Godby, Russell County High School, she teaches grades 10 through 12. Her subjects teaching profession, the professional educator, Spanish 1 and 2. Years taught, including this year, are 21. She's getting on up there. Other school subjects taught them has, and her mother and I are the same age, so you know, she could be my kid. Other schools and subjects taught in the past, I've taught at RCHS all 21 years. I also taught English 1 for 3 years, and the ILP coordinator and freshman RTI coordinator for several years. I have coached the academic team for 16 years.
Yep.
That's
And
all.
does a very good job with this. Yes.
She attended WKU, Bachelor of Arts in Spanish, Master of Arts in Education. What do you like best about teaching? I like most aspects of teaching, but the best is the relationships I form with my students, watching them learn and grow. Those light bulb moments and knowing that I help them get there are the best. Hobbies and activities, it would have taken this whole side of this sheet for her to do that. So I own and operate Just Say Cheesecakes after school and on weekends and any other time you call her and want something. I love reading and just spending time with my family. Her favorite quote, grades don't matter. This is my own personal quote that I use with my students daily. I want them to focus on learning, not grades. So I'm very proud to present Ms. Devin Godby with this.
Ms. Marlowe's take a picture instead.
She's a good one.
Makes the best cheesecake.
Those lemon ones, you know, if you would have
It's the
brought.
white chocolate lemon that you like.
Okay, well, I just know it's lemon.
Yeah, do you want me to stay up here?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was
Not
to
in
say up
Spanish
here.
either.
Just, you
All right,
recognize the
well,
next one.
thank you all for that. And I'll also add to that, I did put that my personal favorite quote is grades don't matter. And I was almost terrified that the Board of Education was going to hear that being said, but luckily I do have students here to back that up.
They can attest to
I
that.
really do say that, and I have that as a sign in my room. I'm very passionate about that. I hope that someday maybe we can adopt a better plan about grades, because
They've
grades...
had this discussion in their class.
Yes,
Their
we actually had a
teacher
debate about it.
Yes.
Because grades shouldn't be the focus, and I think even parents need to hear that your kids shouldn't be focused on grades. They should be focused on learning. Instead of saying, what was your grade on that test? What did you learn?
Yeah.
How did you do? What did you get from that? Those are the conversations that I hope are happening in homes. And Miss Tarter even joked, she said, you're indoctrinating those kids. I sure am.
They're shaking their head. Yes.
We have
Yes.
to
So-
get the colleges believe that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's what
of course
it
right
is.
now colleges are moving away from, testing. It's test optional, meaning, and for parents, if you don't know what that means, is they don't have to submit their ACT scores now. So how are they getting in? They're getting in based on their GPAs, which I know that's great, but they're looking at what are they involved in? What are they doing? What are they not doing? That's the other thing. A lot of times students, they submit an application and they don't have anything on there. In college go, no, we don't want that kid. You may have a 4.0, but you haven't done anything else. So of course you have a 4.0. The kid that has a 4.0, has a job, is in band, is doing all the things, that's the kid you want. They know how to manage their time. They know how to juggle everything. So anyway, I don't want to talk.
That was all free, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That presentation.
I'm willing to talk anytime. I'll just let you know. So Mr. Ford had asked me whenever he found out that I was going to be here tonight anyway, if I would talk a little bit about our new education pathway. And if you look on the agenda, that's on there. So if you're not aware, Russell County High School has started and adopted an education pathway. So it's part of the Career Technical Education Program. And students, if they complete the pathway, will be career ready and, what's the other one? So college ready.
College career, yeah.
So they will actually be both. And so I have several students here tonight. I'm going to ask them to come up here and join me.
Ms. Wilson would have joined you tonight,
Yes, she
but
was not available
family
tonight.
obligation.
Pam Wilson is the other teacher in the pathway. And I will say, I volunteered. I love to share that whenever Ms. Tarter was sort of polling teachers, I did not have a good poker face. She said, you know, we're looking for a teacher that would be interested in teaching future educators. You have to have taught more than 5 years. You need a master's in education. And I started like, okay, that's me. And then she said, would any of you be interested? And I almost literally jumped out of my seat. I was like, please pick me, pick me, pick me. I felt like, you know,
This is
donkey.
true. What she's telling is true. Ms. Tarter would attest to
You
that.
can't make this
wanted
stuff
it.
up.
Do what?
You can't make this stuff up.
No, I can't make it up.
That has to be true.
So then the next day she did come and talk to me and said, you know, are you really interested? I was like, yes, please. I would love that. Like, I love my job and I want to share that with others. And I would love to see more coming into the profession. And so that's what we have here tonight. So we do have a new club at the school as well. So we have the pathway. The pathway consists of 4 classes. So we have the learning community, the learning centered classroom, the professional educator, and then collaborative clinical experience. So you have those 4 classes that the students complete. And then we also have Educators Rising. And some of them that are here tonight, they're part of that club. And Educators Rising, it's a requirement for us to have the club. It's not a requirement for students to join. And through Educators Rising, students have the opportunity to compete with other schools. They have the opportunity to go to state competition, and if they place, they'll go to national competition. This last year it was in Washington, D.C., and Ms. Wilson and I both had the opportunity to go there. It was amazing. We both came back and said, if every teacher could go, especially us older teachers, as Ms. Luann pointed out, because you do sometimes lose that passion and you forget what it's like to be that new teacher. But if they could just come and sit on the sidelines, because there were literally hundreds of teenagers just busting at the seams, excited about education. They wanted to be teachers, and every single one of them, we heard over and over and over, we want to be the change. And that's what I have here tonight. So I'll introduce you to the kids.
Do you want to
that
mention
joined me.
Lindsay Wilson and dual credit, how they're...
Yes, so we did partner with Lindsay Wilson University or Lindsay Wilson College, and I teach this semester the dual credit course. So the students that are in my class are also getting college credit. As such, they get observation time, and they actually log that in KFETS. And if you're not familiar with that, it's the Kentucky Field Experience Tracking System. And that goes with them throughout their college career. So no matter which college they go to, if they stay in Kentucky, they get to keep those hours. They will log that. If you don't know, teachers have to have 200 hours. So the 10 hours they get from me or with me are just a drop in the bucket, but that's 10 hours they go into college with. So that's 10 they don't have to achieve there, and they do it in class time. And they're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And Ms. Wilson will be teaching the dual credit course next semester. We also have a collaborative clinical experience where students will go into classrooms and almost do like a mock student teaching experience. So that'll be happening next semester. We have, I think, 9 students that are going to be doing that.
And every Wednesday.
Yes, every Wednesday, through my course, the students go in and do observations. So they have been in each of the elementary schools. So they got an hour at each of those. That was 3 hours there. They did 3 hours at the middle school. Most of them got 1 hour in 6th, 1 in 7th, 1 in 8th. But because of logistics, some got a couple here, somewhere else. They've done 2 hours at the high school. They had to do 1 hour in like core content, math, science, English, social studies. And then they got 1 elective hour. And now they're doing their flex hours. So flex hours, they had to choose 2 hours, whatever they wanted to observe again. So they could go back to the elementary school, they could go to the middle school, they could do high school, they could do an elective. At that point, they could choose vocational school, just whatever they wanted to do, they get to choose that. And they had to set that up. So the previous hours, I set up for them, I arranged everything, we bussed them, etc. For flex hours, they had to do it. So they had to email the teachers, they had to get permission, they had to arrange everything, etc. So that put the responsibility on them. After every observation, they do have to write a 1-page reflection. So they have to talk about what they got out of that, not a summary. We've talked about that, like, can't be a summary. It's what did you get out of it? What did you learn? What worked? What didn't? What would you use in your classroom if you were a teacher? What would you not? And then they submit those every week. They've also done a philosophy of education. If you don't know about that, that is a huge paper for any beginning college student in an education program. You talk about what's your philosophy? What do you believe? And how will you project that within your classroom and make that happen? What do you believe about your students? What do you believe about education in general? Of course, mine is grades don't matter. So that is, I live by that. Everything I do surrounds that. And they're shaking their heads because they know I say it all the time. It's everything I do. And I've told them, what is your philosophy? And that's what you're going to build around. And that's what their papers were about. They also did teacher interviews, and they're currently working on research projects. So they are in small groups, and they're researching an educational topic, and then they're going to present that and actually teach our class. Now, Ms. Wilson's class, they have been studying like lesson planning. They've gone through a lot of the laws. For example, court cases that have been impactful for education, reform, significant dates. They've also gotten some observation hours as well. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let the students talk a little bit. Let me introduce to you who I have here with me. So I have Larry Coffey. He is the president of Educators Rising. I have Peyton Withers. She's the secretary of Educators Rising. I have Natalie Dilsager. She is the vice president, right? Yeah, of the club. And then I have Claudia, Manuel, and Saturn Walsh. And they are both in Miss Wilson's class, and they're also in our club. Okay? So I'm gonna hush. I'm gonna let these students talk. These three are officers in our club, and I sort of might have done a little bit of bullying to get them here. But it didn't take a lot. I will tell you, as passionate as I am, they're tenfold. And I think they'll share that with you. Step out here and tell them.
How about we honest?
Yeah, come on, step out here. I'm going to get out here. Don't make me feel good.
The reason I joined this pathway, I've had a thought that I wanted to be an educator for a little while. I didn't know if I was sure about it, but joining this pathway and seeing the observations really it opened my eyes towards it. I thought I wasn't wanting to do like elementary or middle school, but it changed my mind pretty quickly. I thought I just wanted to do high school. But I love the little kids. They were so sweet and precious. It really changed my mind.
You had mentioned you'd be okay with kindergarten.
Yeah, and I would be okay with kindergarten.
Yeah.
They're very sweet. It really changed my outlook on education as a whole. Other than that, it's been crazy. I've loved it every second of it.
Crazy good.
Crazy good,
Yeah.
of course. But it's been awesome. I've enjoyed it with my classmates, and the conversations we have in class is like any other. It's actually not like any other, but it's very. We talk more than any other class that I've been in. That's actually talking about a topic. But it's really fun, and we are looking forward to the state and everything. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I've definitely also had a great opportunity with all the observations, because beforehand I was definitely dead set on elementary. And after doing observations, I realized it was not exactly my passion. There are many amazing elementary school teachers. I just realized it wasn't what I was passionate for. And I also never could see myself being a middle school teacher. But after we did observations at the middle school, I realized that I have such a passion for middle school in that specific age group, which is something that's not very common, especially. So they're very thankful that I got to do that hands-on experience before entering into college.
So I like the observations because it really shows you what you're going into. Because like when you first think about it, like it's just like, oh, you're just teaching something. But then as you actually go into the observations, you actually get to see like what is going on, how the student is learning, how the teachers are teaching. Like you get to see everything firsthand. And like honestly, I was like full on 4th grade teacher, math teacher, that's it. But now like I'm either like I'm veering towards high school even. So it was a really good opportunity to see like what like your opinions can change.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk a little bit about like conversations that we've had in class?
I mean, they're like, you wouldn't talk about some of the stuff that we talk about in there to in other classes. It's amazing. We don't argue with each other. We just sit and listen and
Yeah, we get
take it
into
all
very,
in.
very heavy topics in our class, which is just something that's not very common. And it's definitely important to know all these heavy topics because teaching has a lot of, you come into contact with a lot of different situations and you have to discuss those heavier topics before you go into the teaching world because you have to be prepared for that.
And for me, I always have like a random question, just like, wait, what if this happens? Or what if this happens?
What if?
And it's always like a really good like opportunity to get those answers, especially with like unique topics that may happen.
Now, what grade are you all in?
Seniors.
Are you all 3
We're all
seniors?
They're seniors and 2 freshmen. Yeah. Do you all want to
Anxious to
say
hear from
anything,
them.
like things that you all have gotten out of Miss Wilson's
From Ms.
class?
Wilson's class, yeah.
I just say it's like a great experience because, like they said, in a lot of classrooms, you can't talk about these sort of things because there's always different opinions, and most people either, they argue because they have different opinions. But I feel like in the Miss Wilson's classroom, I am open to express my opinion, and I can hear opinions from other people, and it's a really good experience because people aren't arguing, people aren't getting mad at each other. There's no anger for having different opinions. And I feel like that's really important in being a teacher because you have different students with different opinions.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to develop
Yes.
biases and stereotypes between students just because they have
Do you hear
different
that language?
Yes. And remind me the title of Mrs. Wilson's class.
The
What's-
Learning Center.
Learning Center classroom. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We had, it was over governance and what central office personnel
Yes.
do with Ms. Galby's class. And I was going to say a few weeks ago, but it's probably been more.
It
a
feels
month
like
or
just
plus.
it's probably been a month
You know,
ago.
time goes by so quickly, but they all came to the Board of Education, and we, central office staff met with them, and we talked about our roles, and we had some good food, didn't we? We had some good food and ate that, and it was, we were just all so impressed. I know Ms. Rita and Ms. Heather, and you all in attendance that were in there can attest to the fact it was motivational for us, wasn't it? It was just the good conversations that we had, and it was just very rewarding. So we're really, really proud of all of you all.
Anything you want to add, Claudia?
A little shy.
That's okay. We're just glad you're here. Yeah. And I wish we could have brought all the students because what has really been great for both me and Miss Wilson is just the passion from them, and the insights that they provide us. I said it's definitely, made me like, ooh, that one stung a little bit. I need to do better. But it's made me very reflective, and they helped me to be more reflective. And she said the same thing. And since she's not here tonight, I will share. She at the end of the day today, she came by and she said, "Okay, I'm going to share my one good thing today." And I believe it was in your own class. She was talking about the little 1-minute presentations you all were doing. And she said that she got called out, like to the hallway. She got distracted, and but they just kept going.
No, there you go.
And she said, and that's what you want. You want your classroom to run so well that even when you have to step out or something else is going on, everything still happens. The kids are still so engaged and so excited about it that they're still going.
I talked about it at the principal meeting this morning.
Good.
That I misread it. Because it is, I mean, it's just wonderful, and like I told you all that first day of school, I know some of these folks right here will be back in Russell County schools, and we can't wait for them.
Let me ask,
Yeah.
what's your topics? Does the teacher, when you go in to do a class, do they give you the topic that they want you to teach, or do you?
They're not teaching yet. They're just observing. Now, for their research projects, for my classroom, they got to choose their topic. So they sort of had a list of, honestly, some hot topic issues. For example, Title IX, no pass, no play policies, gender biases, some educational issues that are sort of hot topic, and you want to tread lightly, but I let them have that freedom. You get to choose these topics. They had to research it, and starting December 5th, they're going to start teaching us about those topics and what they discovered and what came out of that. So
This is wonderful.
It
I wish
is.
I had this when I got.
there's been a lot of students, especially like those that have recently graduated. We went to Lindsay and they were all saying, "Why didn't we have this when we were there?" We so wish we had.
And Dr. Nail was so complimentary. She was so complimentary of you all when you came, and she was so impressed by you all, and she so appreciates you and Mrs. Wilson. But
They made you look really good. I tell them all the time. I was like, I cannot thank them enough because they really make me shine. So.
And maybe if we had more like this and see what teaching's really like, we won't have.
They're not very English, Mr.
and
It's really.
a few of the students have said, education's not for me, right?
We've had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And that's good. Yeah, and they said, like,
The whole thing's or get you a foot in the door, or take you a foot back, like I want to. So, it was very good.
And even though, like a lot of classes, like, you're like, oh, we have to do this textbook, oh my gosh. But, like, when you know it's godly, it's like, we have a textbook, but, like, and the chapters are long, but, like, a lot of the chapters are, like, really, really interesting. And, like, ooh, sort of sound informative.
Miss Rita, did you pay her to say that?
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are brand new. This is for you.
But they have been, so like I've learned so much. That's the other thing too. We've all, and I tell them, they hear it every day, we are flying the plane as we build it.
That's okay.
I've learned, they've learned. Sometimes we all kind of have to take a step back, but it has been the neatest experience for all of us. And they have, has it made you better students?
Yes.
That's what I keep hearing over and over. Is through this pathway, they've actually become better students because they're seeing the teacher side of it and they better understand why the teachers are doing the things that they're doing. Why do you have that policy? Why do you have that procedure? Why don't you let 5 people out of the classroom at a time? We talked about that today.
They realize now there's not a mythical teacher's lounge where people just go and sit.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as we walked in here, we were like, hey, on chapter 10, like,
Sounds like teacher talk, doesn't it?
I love it. And they're using that vocabulary, you know, they're talking about philosophies, and they're talking, like, I love whenever you said those biases and stereotypes. That's why I was like, listen to their language. They're getting it, they're using it outside of our classrooms, and I love it.
They go to sitting home when the board learns about the new laws that affect education. It'd be
Well, they've been
perfect.
learning about that too. They learned a lot about school law and some of those reforms, like, what did the 10th Amendment do, Larry?
You put me on the spot.
That was your favorite.
I know,
Yes.
I know, but you put me on the spot.
10th Amendment?
Oh, now you're.
Anybody? You can't do that to us. Everybody on the spot. States rights.
State rights.
We've been learning about amendments. They've learned,
You put me on the spot, I can't do that.
that's why grades don't matter. Do what? That's an app. I mean, what court cases have you all done recently?
well, no, that was the first one.
Yeah, Brown v. Board of Education.
I think that's the really recent ones. We did Lucy versus Ferguson, but we haven't really done any more recent.
Have you,
Right now, we're doing more like,
We're doing formative assessments, that's what we're focusing on right now.
What are formative assessments? That's what you're learning.
what about the Governor Burke Holmes and the Kara, they brought Kara in?
Here.
yeah, we're
I thought that was an important one
Yeah.
to Exactly.
And I know Dr. Bartrow has had mock PLCs with you
We had a
all.
mock PLC, they got to analyze data from math scores.
She talked about her mock PLCs in the principal meeting today that she had with you all.
So let me ask you this, you all said that there's no arguments. I'm gonna put you on the spot again. You can handle this.
I think so.
We talked. So today, our big topic was security and what? 2 words.
Classroom management.
Classroom management. In a classroom, we talked about how do you get a classroom where people don't argue? Because we do talk about some heavy issues. They talk, I mean, and even I'm sort of like tiptoeing, please let this go, okay? But it's because you have to manage that classroom and you develop a sense of everybody has a say. You can disagree, but we're all going to be friends at the end of it. And I know Ms. Wilson does a great job of that. And it plays off the teachers, but it's also the students as well, that you all respect each other enough and they understand that we're giving them very mature topics and they're handling them well.
It's also opened up a lot of new friendships for a lot of us too. So that's a good thing.
Sure.
And I can say this too, I'm pretty sure a couple of us that are sitting here or standing here or whatever, that we want to be the change in the classroom, so.
They say that all the time.
We want to be the change. That's
Sounds wonderful.
She can ask Ms. Dobby or Ms. Wilson, we want to be the change, we say it all the time.
Next motto.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's not, we want to
Correct.
change our community.
Did you hear that? Our community. They don't want to go to other states.
Oh, we want them back right here.
We're back here.
So I want to be elected for life, that's it, I know. But
So just keep that in mind. In about 4 years, I'll be writing a recommendation for them. Y'all get ready. I'll be on interview committees for them.
Appreciate you all so much.
Do you all have any other questions for them or anything that,
Oh, they're just great, so motivating, so enthusiastic. I think they deserve certainly a round of applause. Cliche, but you literally are the future.
they are the
Yeah,
future?
yeah.
Thank you all for supporting the pathway and for letting us have it. I know they are thankful and I know their friends are.
we can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough, because you're very good teachers and we need you.
We have the business ones, so.
Yeah, we got them.
I mean, we got it.
We got it.
Yeah. Students do not have to pay for them. Yeah. That kind of is very important. I mean, I love whenever they said, chapter 7, it was my favorite. Like, how often do you hear that?
Mrs. Bowles, how often do you hear that when you order textbooks?
How often do your students remember them?
Yeah, there you go.
That's true.
Very true.
It's heavy, it's a lot, so. Yeah, thank you all for letting us present to you,
Absolutely.
and thank you board members for giving us time.
Thank you.
And for giving us this opportunity, because it's definitely impactful. It's gonna make a difference, and I think, and we're not gonna see it immediately. And sometimes that's a little scary, because I know that whenever you have something new, you want that immediate change. But I think in about 4 to 5 years, when these kids are coming back, and they're my colleague, that's when we're really gonna see that difference. We're gonna see some.
And you know, on your breaks and stuff like that, we talked about this, we would
Yeah.
love to stay connected to you all. And, you know, come in and let us know how things are doing.
Yeah.
It's educator
And in
class.
May, we're actually gonna do a signing day.
Awesome.
So they will, Larry and I had talked about that in Peyton as well. We're gonna set up a time where they actually do a signing day. So just like your football players, your basketball players, when they agree to go to a school, they're gonna sign, but they're gonna commit to education, those that are for sure gonna do it. And those will definitely be the ones that I'm following and sort of stalking a little bit, saying, hey, how's it going? Do you still wanna be in education?
And you can come back and be an aide until you get your 64 hours, and then you could sub on your breaks. And, you know, college gets out a couple of, 2 or 3 weeks before, you know, public school do. And when you may have, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, and be free on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and
And they pay you.
get you exposure
Yeah.
to the principals and all that stuff again. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. A lot to look forward to. Thank you all.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. I don't think any agenda item tonight can top that, can it?
No, I think we need to dismiss right now.
Consent agenda.
We have the previous meeting minutes, paying the bills, school activity fund reports, field trips, and the treasurer's monthly report. Ms. Carnes.
I don't think you follow that.
I know.
I'm not as excited as that was.
But the treasurer's report for the month of October 2022, balance on hand at the beginning of the month was $6,283,713.52. Total receipts for the month were $1,894,114.41. The total of receipts and beginning balance together, $8,177,827.93. Disbursements for the month were $1,743,314.27. And that brings our balance at the close of the month to $6,434,513.66. In the fund balances in the general fund, Fund 1, we have $4,280,146.82. Special projects, Fund 2, $814,730.70. District activity, Fund 21, $10,504.01. Capital outlay, Fund 310, $140,952 even. FSPK building fund, Fund 320, $0. Construction, Fund 360, $987,284.75. Debt service, Fund 400, negative $714,589.02. Food service, Fund 51, $912,856.70. And fiduciary fund, Fund 7,000, $2,627.70. And that brings the total cash in bank for all funds to $6,434,513.66. And we did get our first property tax payment last week. It was roughly $4.3 million. So that's going to get that negative for debt service out of there. We'll stay in the positive for that rest of the school year.
Thank you, Ms. Carnes. There are no changes or amendments. I recommend approval of the consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Ms. Brandon did. Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook? And Ms. Wicker?
Yeah, I just not seen that.
School year 2023-2024 District Calendar Committee.
So it's that time of year where we start talking about next year's calendar, and as you all are well aware of, you all have to approve the calendar committee, KRS 158.070, and that's attached. Requires the local board of education, upon recommendation of the local school district superintendent, to annually appoint a school district calendar committee to review, develop, and recommend the school calendar option. I've listed suggested committee members beside each position, and each person listed has agreed to serve pending the Russell County Board of Education approval. So one district principal, Ms. Tarter. So each of these positions is what the law stipulates they have to be filled. One district principal, Mrs. Tarter from the high school, has agreed to serve. One school district office administrator, other than the superintendent, Mrs. Dameron, our director of student services, has agreed. One board of education member, Mr. Murray. Two parents of attending school in the district, Kara Gibson and Jonathan Oakes. One school district elementary school teacher, Ms. Stephanie Coffey. One district middle or high school teacher, Ms. Rhonda Kimbler, and that works out really well because she also represents Russell County Education Association. Two school district classified employees, Ms. Sarah Huff and Mr. Chris Yates, have agreed to serve. And two community members from the local Chamber of Commerce, Business Community or Tourism Commission, Ms. Marisa Ramsey, the president of Russell County Chamber of Commerce, and Daniel Wilson, the Russell County Tourism Director. So I appreciate, number one, all these people willing to serve and give up their time. We typically have a minimum of 2 meetings, and pending your approval of this, we have one actually scheduled next Tuesday, the 29th, I think is that date, where we're going to start work on this. So I recommend the Russell County Board of Education appoint the school year 23-24 local school district calendar committee as noted to review, develop, and recommend the school district calendar option for the 23-24 school year. So by law, we have to bring back, or the committee, I sit in on those, but by law, I don't have a vote or anything on the calendar committee. But we will bring back a draft committee to present to the board just for presentation only, and to get any public comment at December is our plan. And then, in keeping with the past several years, to bring that back for board approval at the January board meeting. For that, and parents have already started saying, when's fall break, when's spring break, because a lot of vacations and stuff like that are planned. And we'll also have our PD days for our staff noted, just like we did last year too, so our teachers and everybody can know the dates that they're required to attend.
motion?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook?
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker?
Yes.
And again, just appreciate everybody's willingness to serve on that committee.
Construction management and architectural firms for Russell County Middle School, addition, demolition, and old ATC renovations, demolition.
So per Russell County Board of Education authorization on November the 1st of 2022, an advertisement for letters of interest regarding construction management and architectural firms for the Russell County Middle School addition, demolition, and old Area Technology Center renovations and demolition projects was in the November 10th, 2022 edition of the Times Journal. And just for your reference, we had that attached here to the board book. Letters of interest were received from Branscombe Construction Company for the construction management services attached, and Sherman Carter Barnhart for architectural design services attached. The fee schedule for construction management services and architectural services, as you all well know, because I know done a lot of construction things, they're both set by Kentucky administrative regulations, but I have attached both of the fee schedules. You all had that for your review. I recommend that the Russell County Board of Education select Sherman Carter Barnhart for architectural services and Branscombe Construction for construction management for the Russell County Middle School addition and demolition and old ATC renovations and demolition projects. So this is the first major step on getting that work since our district facility plan and the state approved that district facility plan of moving forward on the work then for the middle school and the old ATC.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Be pretty.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook?
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker?
Yes.
And it was pending your all's approval, but we had tentatively planned the day we have a special board meeting, you all know, on the December the 7th to review and accept the bids, hopefully, for the athletic project. And then after that time, now it's definitely set in stone since you all have approved this, we were going to meet with the architects and Mr. Jonathan Smith and them from with the middle school staff just to get ideas and their thoughts and input for what they would like to see in the new school. And we're going to do that afternoon after the board meeting on the 7th. So really appreciate their time and interest with that. We'll have to come up with a name so we don't just keep calling the old ATC. Once we have that building worked on. And the roof is coming along very well with that too.
Cheerleaders paradise.
That's right.
Continue with the allegation for it. I can, part of that's up
Allocation.
here and part of it isn't. For additional instruction assistance and intervention remediation positions, SY 23-24.
So using our federal stimulus money, and I've noted here that all has to be expended by September 30th, 2024. We still have funds available within our federal stimulus funds where we could continue to fund the additional instructional assistants that were equivalent to the number of first grade classrooms. So I'll just take for example, if there's 3 first grade classrooms at Salem Elementary School, then they get 3 additional instructional assistants to use in the primary grades. And then each school was also allocated an additional intervention or remediation teacher. We've done that for the 21-22 school year, 22-23 school year, and since our funds, we could still do that for the 23-24 school year, have that out then, and our goal is to have the funds, and I know Ms. Carnes would attest to that, when that fiscal year closes on June 30th of 2024, they have to be done by September 30th, but they'll just be helped as we close out all those projects. But anyway, so we still have enough funds on the federal stimulus dollars to continue to provide these assistance. And if we do this now and approve this now, the principals know that going in, that just helps them planning for next year. I know it's December, but trust me, conversations are already being had, that's a continuation for the 23-24 school year. So I recommend that each school continue to be allocated an additional certified teacher and additional instructional assistants for use in the primary grades equal to the number of first grade classrooms per school for the 23-24 school year.
What about after that? We don't know.
After that, we would not be able to fund this
That's right.
unless we just had a shower of money come down upon us.
Well, we probably
Because this
will.
is all from the stimulus dollars.
Okay.
And the idea, and I agree, is to provide
Yeah.
those interventions to help kids from the COVID. in the
Yeah.
last-
And this is what the elementary principals said were most needed.
Right, yeah.
Because those students came and they had to go through COVID and not be on virtual a lot of the time.
And the way you all have this done, it's equivalent to the number of first grade teachers, but it allows the principals the flexibility in anybody in that
Well,
primary
that's
grade.
good.
That's where
Yeah,
it's
good.
needed.
So if they need, they need one in this second grade room, they need one in the kindergarten room, whatever, principals know their needs,
Yeah.
and they can assign the staff for the aides. And they make good use of the intervention teachers. I know Ms. Heather sitting back there, she's worked a lot with the intervention teachers, and so it's definitely a need, and the principals put it to good use.
I'll make that motion. They need all the help they can get.
I'll second it.
Okay, Joyce.
Oh, you get
Joy,
it.
Joy.
You can, Richard.
No, that's all right.
I think he's
Let's not
good.
get mad.
Let's not fight over it.
We'll
Okay.
discuss.
Be an example of what the students talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham.
Yes.
Mr. Kazook.
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker.
Yes. Informed consent for bus trip dental care form.
So attached is, I'll read this staff note and then I'll need to talk about it just a little bit. Attached is a permission form that will allow Russell County Schools to transport students to Brian Grip Family Dentistry, which is transitioning to Faith Dental of Russell Springs. That's why that's in parentheses. And will provide consent for dental treatment. The parents and guardians of students identified have been identified as having, the parents have been noted, these students need additional dental care. They can sign consent for dental treatment and transportation. The identification will take place through the Healthy Kids Clinic dental services provided within the school system, and funds from Kevin's Kids will be used to pay for the students' dental care. Brian Grip Family Dentistry, Faith Dental of Russell Springs, paperwork required for their office is also attached for your review. So Mr. Hoover has reviewed and worked on the informed consent for bus trip dental care. At the top of that form is just exactly what it says. It gives permission for us, put the kids on the bus, and we transport them to the dentist office there in Russell Springs. And then the second part, where it notes what they will be doing, the dental exams, the cleaning, the x-rays, treatment for broken teeth, crowns, fillings. I won't go through the whole thing. And the parents sign that part. This all came about because with the Cumberland Family Medical and Healthy Kids dental visits that come to school, they do cleanings and sealings and things like that, but obviously they don't extract teeth or do heavy dental work, during the school day. And so kids would be identified, maybe Michael Ford would be identified, a note would be sent home and says, please follow up with your regular dentist, XYZ issues with Michael's teeth. But then follow around the next year, still not taken care of. I mean, we have kids with just an exorbitant amount of cavities and concerns. And we started talking, and a similar program is happening through a foundation in Macquarie County, where Macquarie County takes them to a local dentist and kind of makes it work. Well, Julia Smith with the Healthy Kids Clinic with Dr. Loy's group had worked with Dr. Grip's office with his, again, transitioning to Faith Dental of Russell Springs, came up with this fee schedule, which is it's attached for your review, which is very generous. We met with the dentist, all the family resource centers, directors, we met with them, and Mrs. Dameron. Just really appreciate everybody coming together. Kevin Williams is aware of this. I've talked to him about this. And we're taking the kids at the schools that have the highest needs first, and we'll transport them based upon the evaluations with the dental clinic at the school.
That's why I wondered who was determining.
Yes, so the dentists that come to school,
Okay.
that sees the
Okay.
kids, and then their staff notes, and they highlight, detail.
Okay.
And they went through them with the Family Resource Center directors and have identified the students that,
Okay.
we have one that has like 16 cavities,
Oh, gosh.
unfilled, that needs immediate attention.
When you
So-
throw it, chewing gum.
Oh, God.
Really proud to offer this service. Really appreciate Brian Grip's Family Dentistry with Faith Dental of Russell Springs, that whole office, our Family Resource Centers directors, everybody that's had a part, Julie Smith with Healthy Kids Clinic, everybody that's had a part in making this work. And we just need your all's approval, and then we will actually here start next week on pending your all's approval, taking kids.
The Parents can be there if they want
They
to.
can, absolutely, yes.
They can meet them
Yes,
there.
Yes. And then if they do have a medical card or Medicaid, then obviously the dentist office will bill for that. If they don't, is when we'll kick in the money with Kevin's kids.
Kevin's kids.
Yes.
That's
Well, they
amazing.
need to take care of their teeth.
That's right.
Live an example.
I think the board members ought to be involved together.
But we're really excited for this, and,
That's
and, you
good.
know, if you're sitting there in class and have some dental issues, we all know that could certainly be a deterrent. And regardless if a parent's there, though, Family Resource Center staff will be on the bus. Obviously, if the form is signed and consent given. That's
good.
So,
I'll make a motion that we approve the informed consent for bus trip dental care form as presented.
okay.
And I'll second. Good teeth.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook?
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker?
Yes,
All right, thank you all.
it's a good program.
It's great. Another good example of what Kevin Williams, I tell him all the time, he doesn't even realize what he does for the kids.
It's taking care of kids from medical and teeth and everything.
Buys glasses and
Out of state and/or overnight trips.
the following groups have received approval from the superintendent for the following out-of-state or overnight trips. Of course, they require board approval. Russell County Middle School, December the 16th to the 17th. The cheerleaders will be going to cheer competition in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's an overnight. The rest of these are high school, December the 2nd through the 3rd. The cheerleaders and cheer competition in Sevierville, Tennessee, December the 9th through the 10th. The cheerleaders will be in cheer competition in Lexington, December the 19th to the 22nd. Annual Russell County High School boys basketball team for the Smoky Mountain Classic basketball tournament in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. January the 8th, the Laker dance team will go to Jeffersonville High School over there in Jeffersonville, Indiana, just across the river. February 16th through the 6th to the 13th of 2023, they're cheerleaders for the UCA National High School Cheerleading Championship in Orlando, Florida. And March 29th through April the 3rd, the Russell County High School baseball team for the Cal Ripken Experience in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I recommend approval of the out-of-state or overnight trips as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state overnight trips.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay.
We'll vote.
Okay, Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook?
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker?
Yes.
Fundraiser for we.
Fundraiser.
Just in full acknowledgement, this is kind of like a little retroactive approval because they did get this permission slip in, the fundraiser approval before the fundraiser. It's just that it didn't meet for the board members or the board meeting
They done had
timeline.
it.
That's what I'm getting at. So the following group has received approval from the superintendent for the listed fundraiser, Jamestown Elementary School. They're actually having their book fair
What happened
last
if we
week.
don't approve?
I guess they'll have to get the money back. November the 18th to the 22nd, or November the 14th to the 18th of this year, the Scholastic Book Fair. So I recommend approval of the school-wide fundraiser, and as I noted, that would be retroactive.
We've done them every year for as long as I
Yes,
can remember.
we always have the
I
book
did.
fairs.
I'll make the
Okay.
motion.
Good. All right.
We approve it even though
I'll
they done
second.
had it.
I'll second.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Kazook?
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker?
Yes, and I hope they did well.
I think they did. Miss Stephanie does a good job.
BG4s,
Okay, we already had a list of these, I think maybe it was back in September, wasn't it, Ms. Carroll, or August? The BG4s for their closeout contracts for the Lake Cumberland Regional College and Workforce Center. All construction-related contracts require a BG4 contract closeout form to close the individual contracts. The BG4s reflect any change orders, purchase orders, et cetera, and the total cost for each entity is reflected on the form. And again, I just want to note this again, payments have previously been made. This is simply a closeout documentation. This is not another bill. These have all already been taken care of. So the following are submitted for the Lake Cumberland Regional College and Workforce Center, Rogers Aluminum and Glass, LLC, and Branscombe Construction Company for the general carpentry, footings, and foundations and slabs. So I recommend approval of the BG4s for the Lake Cumberland Regional College and Workforce Center as presented. And then we have some for the drainage project.
I make a motion that we approve the BG4 for Lake Cumberland Regional College and Workforce Center as presented.
You going to
I'll
talk?
second. Okay.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham,
Yes.
Mr. Kazook, and Ms. Wicker.
Let me know if we won't get in time. Talk to everybody else.
Ms. Brenda.
I will eventually.
Mr. Kazook made it, Ms. Brenda second.
You're running items on the
Yeah,
agenda.
here. I'll get to
PG4's contract closeout, Russell County High School, ANC paving and drainage project.
So the same thing, this was just on our paving and drainage project here on this campus. We have one for Piles Excavating for the earthwork and for Gaddy Shamrock for the paving. So I recommend approval of the BG4s for the Russell County High School ANC paving and drainage projects.
I'll make a motion as presented on the
I'll
BG4
second.
projects.
I thought you'd been asleep, Cheryl.
No, that was less than
Joy already seconded. Ms. Joy, you second that,
Yes,
right?
I did.
Okay.
I'm more than you listen.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Higginbotham.
Yes.
Mr. Kazook.
Yes.
And Ms. Wicker.
Yes.
That was a crazy
Personnel
thing. I
reports.
Personnel reports, Renee Turner, she's retiring from James Elementary School effective January 1st, 2023. We'll used to teach with her and wish her very well in her retirement. Thank her for her years of service. Elizabeth Tazan, hired Jamestown Elementary School instructional assistant. Jeremy Helm, hired Russell County Middle School assistant baseball coach. Josh Popwell resigned as Russell County Middle School head baseball coach. Garrett Stevens resigned as Russell County Middle School, Russell County High School assistant baseball coach. Kim Wyatt transferred from Russell County High School head cook to Russell County Middle School cook cashier effective 11/7/22. Jason Harris resigned, Russell County High School athletic assistant football coach effective 10/18. And Hannah Lester hired as district-wide classified substitute positions. It's just a report.
Okay, you need public comments, anyone?
That ain't on my face.
Yes, sir.
What's on the agenda?
Quick question, with the new gym that we're putting in for middle school, what are y'all doing with the basketball rings? I'm thinking about building a building down here, since we're having trouble getting enough kids in the gyms.
I'm sorry, Mr. Birch.
For the basketball rings, are we going to just take them down and throw them away when we rip the building down?
They will be declared surplus. A lot of that stuff, to tell you the truth, once it'll be in the contract package. Mr. Branscombe can probably speak to this more. On those demolition packages, it's a demo package, isn't it? And they're not pieced out. Stuff isn't. So it's typically a demo package, and whoever gets that package.
Which bleachers?
The basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just said, if we're going to throw them away, I would like to get them. I can even come in and take them down. I have one with us.
Right.
I just think they need a little bit of need. I'm having trouble getting gyms.
Yeah.
You know how busy we
Yeah.
are. I'm thinking, I've been talking to my wife and a couple other parents, like, I'm willing to build a building down here. And I thought, when I seen the.
So maybe Mr. Branscombe, whoever got that demo package, he could probably talk to them.
Yeah. At the time that's been awarded to the demo contractor, then that discussion can take place.
Yep.
I just come talk, if you get it, come talk to me, we'll do about this.
Certainly.
Yeah, I just thought, hey, if you're going to throw them away.
Oh, I don't blame you. Absolutely. Yeah. And put them to good use.
Still work.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I've been trying to get the gyms, I'm going to the others, you haven't done this, but this only half court, I cannot bring 25.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring a handful of kids.
I think the contractor would probably work with you.
Yeah.
Just in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
I'll come take them down.
Sure.
Stick them in the building till I get that building built.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll know when it all goes on.
Excuse me?
I said, I'm sure you'll know when all the demolition packages out there and everything.
Sometimes you don't see me because of sports, but I still watch.
Right, well, good.
All does and everything, just to see what's kind of going on. I seen everybody prove all that, and I thought, boy, this would be a good opportunity if I could get a couple
Yeah,
of.
we hope in 2023 to start the work on the school. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Birch.
Anybody else?
My turn.
Charlie's not here.
I make the motion to adjourn.
I second. Anyone want to say anything?
I've done adjourned.
I said,
All of them?
I'm gonna go on that. Let's stay
He's
on
come
that.
up now.
Okay, Brenda.
She's already done.
Yours down there?
She wanted to go, and Dick said second. He'll take
Let's
it.
go to Somerset and eat.
You are tonight.
You'll beat up,
Who's
too.
going?